Well, Eddie said that this game wouldn't have any bearing on the squad. We're now seeing the squads just come out. Willie Hines and Ludlam both in the squad. Do you think that was off the back of their performance in the weekend?
I think it is, yeah. I think Ludlam especially.
100% Ludlam.
Yeah, 100%. And there's talk of Shields that he might make it. It was just there for the taking for him, wasn't it? And you talk about taking your opportunity from start to finish. And I tweeted a picture or a video of him singing the anthem. Not that matters, but he took that emotion and what it means to play for his country into the game. And things have got to go right for you. And when you play against Wales and you play around, and they hit up in them tight channels, they come route one, that suited his game. Eddie Jones mentioned that he had in his mind probably the majority of the team that he was going to take. I reckon Ludlam changed his mind. And you mentioned Hines as well. To only take 2 scrum halves is quite ballsy as well. But Willie Hines going into that game, I think he's 30 years old. He's come out of nowhere, really. If you read the press and the stuff on social media, no one thought he should have been playing for England, and he played really well at the weekend, and Eddie Jones obviously likes him.
Yeah, it's always interesting when you look at a squad makeup and how it gets selected. You look at areas where they've sacrificed someone to take another position. Obviously, 3 loosehead props. Joe Marler's back in the mix. He's in the squad with Ellis Genge and Mako Vanapola, who's injured. But there's only 2 tight heads, which I find interesting. No Harry Williams. So only taking Dan Cole and Carl Sinclair.
Fair play to Coley. He's played a lot better.
Yeah,
since Goody rinsed him on the podcast and I went
to
Leicester.
Mate, it was you.
He didn't talk to me at Leicester. I went to him. I grew up with Coley, and since the podcast came out and we said that he slowed down and the scrum was going back at 100 miles an hour, 2 things happened. He stopped talking to me and he improved his game. So you're welcome, Coley. Good on you, big fella. He's absolutely loaded. He don't spend any money. Going to a World Cup again, not that it's all about money.
Why is it always back to money with you, Jim?
It's not. I'm just jealous.
Okay.
I'm jealous that he's pulled his finger out and he's now going to be making a mint and probably going to it's going to be his last World Cup. And
I think it's a strange one though, taking only 2 tight heads. Yeah, one of them gets a knock, concussion. The knock-on effect of that in a squad, you have to have obviously someone that's declared that can play tight head on the bench. You can pick a squad to pieces. It's great to see he's giving youngsters opportunities. Obviously, Ludlam's played his part and got into the squad. Coley was good at the weekend, wasn't he? He scrummaged really well, won penalties. But Harry Williams, I think, has been outstanding for Exeter as well. So is it a risk to only take 2 9s and 2 tight heads? Possibly.
He's gone for experience with Coley. I know it sounds ridiculous to say, but you know what you're getting with Sinclair?
He's a hothead though, so if something happens with Sinclair, he's brilliant. Don't get me wrong, but he has got something in him sometimes that he loses discipline.
Yeah.
You then think, well, we've only got one of the tight heads, so it's an interesting makeup.
But where England lacking is leadership, really, isn't it, and experience.
Is that where Willie Hines comes in then?
Well, I think him and Coley, like having guys that have been around the block a little bit, but I think more international experience, really.
And McConaughey's in as well, even though he didn't make his debut on the weekend.
Mate, I'll be honest, I wouldn't even say I've seen him with a ball in hand.
Well, it's because you're
I don't
really watch the backs.
No, talk to me about him. How good is he?
I've
heard he clearly must be very good because he didn't play at the weekend. He pulled out injured, right?
Yeah.
Right, I'm saying so.
He's played very well for Bath. He's come from sevens, a sevens background with England. His first year really in 15s last year at Bath in the Premiership and did well. It is a surprise. Maybe it's got something to do with the balance of the back line. Obviously, Ben Teo's not in. No Mike Brown there.
What's happening?
Scrappy dappy do. I heard right on the piss. Boom, 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 boom.
So on the piss and they're having a scrap.
Well, who knows?
What do we know about that?
It's all rumours. But maybe that's
hit us with some rumours.
Maybe that's why McConaughey has been given the opportunity. Because if you talk about experience and you want someone that can play fullback wing, you'd have probably taken Mike Brown. But fair play to Eddie Jones. If you're scrapping in the squad, you ain't getting picked, boys.
Why?
Well, why not?
But
you scrapped with Farrell and you'd never got picked after that, did you?
Very true. Don't scrap. I don't think I would have got. I don't think that was the reason I didn't get picked. Right, okay. I'll be honest. But is that why? But surely not. Like because I don't imagine
he's got to answer questions now.
Teo's not a big drinker, is he? Like that. That's quite.
Remember the Scotland game? After the Scotland game,
Teo is a massive drinker, isn't he? So obviously loves to scrap, but I don't know. I mean, he's a big player for me. Teo's one of them guys, hardly ever plays for Worcester, clearly probably doesn't care too much about playing for Worcester. We saw during the Lions tour, people are questioning whether he should play or not. And you get guys who they're called test match animals, you know, and there ain't many
No,
of them about.
I don't know, James.
There ain't many of them
It
about.
ain't me or you, so what are you on about?
And he was one of them. So I'm surprised that he's not going.
Piers Francis, actually, I thought he played pretty well yesterday. Put a decent shot on. Who did he smash? Hadley Parks came on a quality line off a line out, and he absolutely ended him. So Piers Francis in it, sort of back up inside centre instead of Tio. So clearly, Eddie Jones has probably said to him, "See you later." Ben Tio has been in, I think, pretty much every squad that Eddie Jones has picked when he's been fit. So it's, obviously...
It must have been a big scrap.
No boozing. Maybe that's why not. Sips isn't in either. No Danny Cipriani, we haven't mentioned that yet.
Yeah, no Cipriani.
Well, it's obviously never going to happen.
Old news now. Old news.
Unless either of them got injured. If they get injured, he's in, and we've said that for a long time. But he's obviously, we've seen that he wasn't given a fair chance in terms of actually training with the squad, showing Eddie Jones what he can do in that environment. Eddie Jones made his mind up, and as much as we give Eddie a bit of stick on here at times for some of his decisions, he's always said judgment on the World Cup, and he will do it however he sees fit, and he won't bow to pressure of press, of people's opinions of who should be in it. Ford and Farrell are his boys, and off we go. And our second team just beat the best team in the world. We're favourites for the World Cup now.
There he is.
Are you surprised how early they named the squad? Because he didn't need to name it for another month yet, didn't he? Was there any reason why he's named it so early?
It's Ben Young said something yesterday about it's actually better to name it early, so everyone knows where they stand. Everyone, you can just focus on those 31 players. Perhaps he should have left it another week, but again, it's Eddie Jones. He'll do what Eddie Jones wants to do. He said yesterday that however anyone played yesterday had no bearing on the selection for the squad. And you go back to 2015, some of the players are now coming out, and of course they're only going to say what Eddie Jones wants them to say or hear. But they're saying in 2015 there was loads of training examples where no one knew where they stood, were they in the squad. It started a few rifts between guys in the same positions, and it just wasn't good for squad morale to name a squad later. It's easy saying that after the horse has bolted sort of thing 4 years later, but now they're in Eddie Jones's camp, and they're all the guys that know they're selected. Well, of course they all know they're selected now, but the guys that knew they were going to get selected, they were always going to say it's best to get it out of the way early so it's done and dusted. And for those guys that haven't been picked, you hope. I've seen Gloucester giving Cipriani more time off, and he's back in America on holiday. You hope that those guys like Shields, I know he's come back from an injury, but some of the guys that have done all the training, which is Jim's scenario from 2015, you do it all and then last minute you get sent off, is a horrible thing. So at least they've now got time. Go away from your back to your clubs, but go away on holiday for a couple of weeks, because the Premiership season doesn't start till October. And I know there's the Premiership Cup before that, but they'll want to stay fit, but they'll also need some headspace to get away from just going straight back into a club environment, which they don't want really, because they've just missed out on the biggest thing ever to play in a World Cup.